Hi, is spot reduction possible or is it not? Spot reduction is the removal of fat from certain regions of the body that we want to target when getting leaner. The short answer is it is possible. It is well possible and it has been demonstrated. I have personally practiced it for some years now, since I became aware of the fact that it's possible when I read a certain study made in Copenhagen, Denmark in 2003, named Starknecht et al., and it had to do with research on diabetes. Hi, I am David, based in northern Italy. I apologize in advance for anything that I could say that could sound weird in English, but it's not my first language, so it's not even my second. It's my third language because I happen to speak also German, and it's a mess here, up here. It makes very much confusion. Anyway, the study that I just cited has been conducted by measuring blood flow in subcutaneous adipose tissue, SCAT, SCAT for brevity. Measurements of blood flow require the local injection of radioactive material, radioactive substance that is then washed out by the incoming fresh blood and by eliminating the stagnant blood that was there before at the time of the injection, and by measuring the rate of decay of the radiation with a normal Geiger counter. Anyway, the big takeaway from this study is that blood flow is not constant. It can increase up to sevenfold if the muscle underneath, where the fat layer is above the muscle, is between the muscle and the skin, when the muscle underneath is contracting heavily, like in a targeted exercise session. Also, during those tests, biopsies were made in the SCAT, subcutaneous adipose tissue, and a higher propensity to lipolysis in those fat cells were detected. So we have a situation where much more blood goes through a certain fat layer when the muscle underneath is contracting. So one would think, yes, it is possible to get leaner by doing ab crushes, for example, or crunches, or crunches, not crushes, or torsions, or heavy exercises for those muscles. But the thing that's still lacking is the demand for fat. The blood that has to irrigate to the part must be fat hungry, fat thirsty. How do we generate a blood that is thirsty for fat? By doing cardio. So the protocol is simple. You first activate the region that you want to get lean, for example, your abdomen or your love handles or something. And by activating, I mean you train the region with targeted exercise, not so light, but rather heavy. And then you, upon this exercise period, you go for a cardio session. And the type of cardio I'm referring to is not high intensity cardio, not heat, but steady state cardio instead, because we want to burn the fat that we are getting through this fat depot in real time, not after 24 hours or something, when the activation has vanished. If think of this: if an hour of jogging reflects in an hour of losing fat from a certain fat depots, for example, on the abdominals, it might translate to 5 hours of jogging if the blood has been elevated 5 times during that hour of jogging. And so spot reduction is possible. It is possible under 2 preconditions that have to be met. Otherwise, the process is not as effective. One, you have to be fat burning adapted. You have to have built the possibility of oxidizing fat in your muscles, and this takes 2-3 weeks at least of doing cardio 2-3 times a week in order to develop the capacity in the muscle to oxidize in fat at a rate high enough to generate the power required for that cardio activity. So walking is immediately cardio efficient, but it's not very demanding, so you won't be able to lose much fat just by walking. If you fat adapt to cycling or even better jogging, then you will be able to generate enough fat burning, and if you activate the region which you want to get leaner on, where you want to lose fat from, then a significant portion of that fat that you've burned in your cardio session will have come from that region. The second precondition that has to be met is that since the adipocytes in the fat layers that we're thinking about, generally around the abdomen or waist, are of the kind that's called alpha-2 adrenergic. The adipocytes are covered with receptors that nullify, that avoid, that impede the release of esterized fatty acids in the bloodstream if there is insulin around. So you do not want to have insulin in your blood. So you have to be fasted in a way that your insulin is down to baseline, so that those fat cells can release their content of fat into the bloodstream, and even more so if the fat layer has been activated by contracting the muscle underneath. In addition to those 2 preconditions, there are 2 or 3 suggestions that you may want to follow to make the process even more efficient, to turn up the efficacy of this procedure. Maintain the part warm, because even if warmth does not increase blood flow, cold does decrease it. Cold lowers blood flow. So if you maintain the part warm during the exercise and during the cardio session, then you will maintain a higher blood flow throughout all the session. You can even interrupt the session to refresh the opening of the faucets, so to speak, locally, and then resume the cardio activity up to its completion. And this is one suggestion. The other suggestion would be to go to massage the part when you're activating the fat layer upon the muscles that you're contracting, because even if massage alone doesn't do the trick of elevating blood flow, or very minimally, if demand for higher blood flow is present through your activity, your training of the muscle underneath, then yes, then massage can increase blood flow, can facilitate establishing a higher blood flow quicker, and perhaps even to a higher degree. The last suggestion is once you're done with this procedure, don't eat for 1 more hour, because you will have a blood flow in those regions that you want to get rid of fat from, with the blood flow still elevated, if you eat something and you digest the food, the fat that will enter the bloodstream will be deposited preferentially again where the blood flow is higher. So you want it to return to baseline before you eat again. So that was it. This was just an extemporaneous video that I made in response to a comment under a video regarding physical shape and training. If you want to know more about this argument or many other arguments actually that I have in mind, I am an ex-competitive weightlifter with sound knowledges in medicine and sports medicine in particular, but I have a PhD just in engineering, so this is not medical advice in any means, shape or form. And but I have happened to have ideas about other improvements that have proven possible, for example with hair, or for example with growth, bone growth, for example with spot reduction, and even some dirty tricks for making it permanent. Well, if you're interested in this, I may be drawn to the conclusion that I should make some videos, some better made videos about it, and this can be communicated by leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing to this channel. Bye.